your first company project is due this week, or at least the submission in week 12 is due. That means you need to submit your company research project. If you haven't already completed it, you have till the rest of the week to finish it up. The submission is due this week. If you don't complete this week, the submission link will still be open for you to submit it later on. So when you complete it this week, that means you'll have the remainder of the semester, which is 3 more weeks, to complete the presentation. I just pinned the presentation instructions video to the announcements, which I released back in October. But you'll see it again. You can click on it, look at it, review it, and it will essentially show you how to do it. What you're doing is you're making a PowerPoint presentation, and you're also creating a video of yourself making the presentation of your actual research project. And you will upload that under week 15 content. You'll see a submission link. You can go to if you're using Zoom, you can use YouTube. You want a YouTube video yourself, whatever, using your cell phone, whatever you want to do. Either upload the link or upload the actual physical video from Zoom if you want, and the PowerPoint. At the very least, you have to submit a PowerPoint presentation to at least get credit. PowerPoint presentation. PowerPoint is a Microsoft document. There's a Microsoft application you can use. You can use it at the campus. They have PowerPoint. If you want to use Google, Google has a free program called Google Slides. Have a Gmail account. You go to the Drive and all the different apps you can use. You can use Google Slides at home for free. And you can convert the Google Slides doc into a PowerPoint presentation. So you can do that if you can't afford to go to use PowerPoint because you don't have the program, you can't do it at school, or you're rather do it at home but don't have access to it, you can use Google Slides for free. And you can convert the final file using Google to convert it into a Google Slides, convert it from a Google Slides into a PowerPoint presentation. So lots of ways to do it. It's fairly simple. I'm using a PowerPoint presentation right now to show you how to
She's
create
sticking
this.
her fucking nails into my ass. I.
So make sure you mute yourself because I'm recording this, all right? So those are the two main things to be taken consideration. The first thing, just to repeat for students that just came in, your presentations are due at the end of the semester on the 15th. Your research project is due this week. So you can take the research project, submit it this week. The submission link will be open if you submitted late. And then you have to work on your presentations, which is a PowerPoint presentation of your work, followed by a video. You can record yourself, YouTube video yourself, record yourself using the Zoom application you're on now. You can just hit the record button, you can record yourself, it'll save it to your phone, or it'll save it to your computer, and you can upload the file, the video file to Brightspace. So that's what's due on the agenda this week and then the 15th. We don't have class next week because of Thanksgiving. So we will not be having a Zoom session or any class next week because it's Thanksgiving. So you don't want to be here. You don't want to be on campus over here. You don't want to be uh, trying to log into this digital classroom. Don't do that. Okay, so just remember next week, you don't have to do that. So next week, if you wanted to, I mean, you have time, you can finish your work up. All right, so just to go over the content real quick. So next week is still considered from the 25th to the 8th, which means that week 13, it's actually 2 weeks. So if you look at the calendar on Brightspace, week 13 is a 2 week long week because we have the Thanksgiving vacation. So even though it starts the 25th, it ends December 8th. So I won't be seeing you 28th, but we'll be seeing each other again December 5th. Okay. So I'll be seeing you December 5th. I'll be seeing you again the 12th, and then the 19th, which is the last week. That's your submission week, right? So I have some things posted saying your assignments are due by the 16th. I may extend it to the 18th or 19th. I will send out an announcement with more clarity sooner to that date to give you an idea of when all your due dates are. But currently it's set to the 16th, but I may extend it. A lot of it depends on when grades are due. If grades are due sooner, you have less time to complete your work. If grades are due later, you have more time to complete your work. So we will probably only see each other on two more classes. Okay, so week 13, week 14. So 2 weeks in December. The last week, the 15th, we probably will not have a live class. We won't have a live class. We won't have a virtual class, but you'll have your submissions due for your presentations. Usually what we're supposed to do is we're supposed to meet and we're supposed to do a live presentation in class, or we do a virtual presentation. I usually let the students choose, and the reason why I do is because some of the students aren't on the same time zone. Some of the students aren't even in New York. So, and by the end of the semester, I may have a class of 20 something students, and there's only 6, 7, or 8 or 9 students actually participating by the end of the semester. So if I divvied you up in groups earlier in the semester, you'd be working with teammates that you wouldn't even see or know, or who wouldn't respond. It'd be very frustrating. So I have everyone actually do the assignments individually because of the circumstances of just how the class works. If this was a live classroom and we were on campus in Fitterman or on campus in the main campus, it'd be different, right? Because you're expected to be there. You're physically there. We'd be having groups and things that so it'd be much different structure. Because it's a hybrid course and it's all the way in the Heights, and some students that join this course aren't even here in the US or they're in different states. The format doesn't work. So yeah, that's why I have you guys do it individually. So record your presentation, submit your presentation to me because the hybrid course is asynchronous. Some of you are in different time zones. It's easier that way for everybody. Okay. So I'm gonna, if you have any questions, you feel free to email me. Any questions if you have any. I'm going to jump on the lecture. So I'll probably, so just to reiterate, next week is Thanksgiving. We won't have class. I'll probably see you guys the following week after and the week after that. And you have your assignments too. If you're behind in any assignments or have any questions, email me. Don't be shy about it. Don't bite. Better to email me than don't email me. Trust me. If you need more time to do something, email me. But once the semester ends, I can't give you any extensions. Also, discussion board 6 is due this week. If you haven't done your discussion boards, please catch one of the discussion boards. Okay. So this week is developing and pricing goods and services. So this is going over sort of the cycle of price, like we want to have a price promotion, sort of dovetailing into the next part of marketing, where you're going into like your product offerings. So the definition here is important. What is the definition of value, right? This is an exam question you'd see. And yes, just to sort of go over the final exam is also just like the midterm, you take it online. That week of the 15th, your final exam opens and you can start to take it. I'm debating if I should open it sooner for you guys, just so you can get a jump on it. It says the final exam is due 12/21, so December 21st. I'm guessing all of your projects, final projects, exams, assignments, that's probably going to be your actual final due date. To submit everything is probably going to be the 21st of December. Um, Let me just make sure that the exam is open. I don't think I ever close the exam. I think I just leave it open for you guys to take when you want to take it. But the due date's the 21st in the exam. So the exam is everything you've reviewed for the second half of the semester. So the first half of the semester was your midterm. The second half is your final exam. Your final exam does not include everything from chapter one on. That's not how it is. So your midterm, that was from chapter one to I think the week 7 or so, week 8. So all the assignments from week 1 to week 8, all the reading was your midterms. Now week 9 to 15, that's your final. So you don't have to worry about what you learned during the beginning of the semester. You just have to focus on the middle. So from week 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, that is going to be your final. So those chapters are your final chapters to study. So this is something, the definition of value, good quality at a fair price. According to the American Marketing Association, value is a foundation of marketing. Adapting products to new markets and an ongoing challenge. Product development is a key activity in any modern business. So value is also subjective, right? You'll see in marketing it's used to sort of describe good quality in relationship to cost. So there's two mechanisms of cost and quality. So there's sort of quantitative characteristics of the price, and there's qualitative characteristics in terms of the value. So those two aspects are determinants of value, but it's subjective, it's marketing. You'll see value gets advertised a lot as low cost or cheap, right? It's value. You always see that value. You want our premium or our value brand? That's the cheap stuff, right? Let me just tell you, there's nothing value about anything. All right, everything they make now is cheap. This garbage. You guys coming up in this generation, everything's garbage. It's just junk. The food they make, the furniture is just garbage. All right, and you hear the old person. In my days, we used to. It's true. Like you look at a candy bar back in like the 50s, big giant candy bar, right? Real milk chocolate, real pea, like just it was a candy. It was, obviously because of inflation, the price is somewhat relevant, but sort of not relevant because of inflation increase in costs and expenses over time. But you can't find a candy bar like that. Price or no price, it's just the quality of everything. And as the decades have passed, it have dropped. Not in your textbook, maybe it is, but not in your textbook, but it's a type of stagflation where they reduce the quality. So instead of increasing the cost of a product for you, let's say things, we've had inflation the last 2, 3 years since COVID. We had a spike in inflation. So everything's about 40% more expensive than it was 6, 7 years ago, which is crazy. So people are feeling the sting of cost. So sometimes what companies do is instead of increasing the cost of a product, because if everything's more expensive, but your paycheck hasn't gone up, well, you can't buy it, right? So inflation has nothing to do with your paycheck. Your paycheck doesn't get inflated. Everything else just gets more expensive, right? So what they do is they reduce the quality and the size of the product to offset inflation costs. So if you look at candy bars, you look at products 40, 50, 60, 70 years ago. They were bigger, larger, obviously cheaper, better quality ingredients, better everything. But because of inflation, the conundrum here, and some people say call it late stage capitalism. It's where inflation causes is a complicated economic process, but it causes an increase in the cost of goods, services, merchandise, raw goods, raw manufacturing materials because of, the cost to do business, borrowing money, lending, banks, interest rates, all that's precursory to what causes inflation. Uh, Bank lending predominantly, interest rates predominantly put a cost to borrow money. When the cost goes up, you actually might see inflation shrink because money's scarcer and cheaper. Inflation actually occurs because people have too much money and they don't care about price because they have lots of money. So they become less price sensitive. So then companies gouge you for more because you could afford to pay more because you're not as price sensitive. If something's $1.99 and something else is $2.20, you might say, 30 cents, not a big deal, right? It's only 30 cents. But if your money's tight, 30 cents matters, right? So inflation also occurs predominantly because there's more money floating around the economy, less price sensitivity. That's exactly what happened over the last almost 15 years, 2008, 14 years. We've had very, very cheap money, very low interest rates. You can borrow money from the bank, a mortgage, a loan, very low interest rates. Low interest rates means it's cheaper to borrow money, less money to pay it back. That causes interest rates to that those low interest rates means is people borrow more money. When you borrow more money gets pulled into the economy. When people have more money in the economy, businesses borrow money, they can hire more employees, give them raises, stuff like that. You have less price sensitivity because you can afford things easier. Then that causes inflation. That's like what happened, pretty much. That inflation didn't match our salaries. So you've had this pent-up inflation kind of, there's a lot of other economic factors too. It's not that simple what I'm telling you, but it's like this pent-up inflation and it exploded, but our salaries aren't correlative. They don't correlate all the way. Salaries are considered an expense, right? For you, it's like money, but it's considered a business expense. So it's not always correlated. Yes, employees, they get more expensive and stuff, but uh, everything got literally like 40% more expensive, but your salaries didn't shoot up by 40%, right? So that causes companies to then make adjustments to their product quality, value, to offset the fact that you can't afford to buy stuff the same you can. So they figure out how to make things cheaper, lower quality. They shrink things, called shrinkflation. That's what you get. And this has been going on in American society, in capitalist society for the last century, more than a century, about a century. So the quality of things has gotten so crappy because of what like real quality stuff is outrageously expensive. Furniture has become so crappy and junky and cheap. IKEA furniture, Wayfair is junk. It's not even real wood. It's like cheap wood. It's just people trying to make money, trying to make a buck, inflation. So food's junk. Food is garbage, man. The stuff that they feed people is junk. The pesticides, the chemicals, the nutritional content is at all-time low over the last since modern agriculture. It's just trash, man. We're living in a society where we're consuming trash we think is good. Technology is getting cooler and better though, right? So it's catch 22. So you buy some furniture, it's junk furniture. You eat some food at McDonald's, is that meat? Well, you see how they raise those cows? chemicals, things. It's just to cut costs. It's this whole economic situation that puts a strain and burden on us. And you wonder why we have cancer and health issues and all these things. Even the paint on your wall, the paint on your wall leaches volatile organic chemicals like formaldehyde that's cancer causing. Okay. So they're figuring out, how to make things cheaper, and they're using chemicals and petroleum-based products and other things to integrate it. Your clothes, not even made out of cotton, is now some weird nylon or material. It's plastics, and stuff breaks down to microplastics, and some of it, depending on how it's made, leaches chemicals. So, and then you get in your car and drive on the highway, and you're breathing in air pollution, which is carcinogenic. So this is the everything 360 is self-destructive. It's societarily destructive, qualitatively destructive. So when we talk about marketing, product development, I'm going over these definitions with you. It's economics. Okay. It's modern day capitalistic economics that's really influencing manufacturing cost, quality, value, market share, all those things because of what you can and can't afford. Because there's a shrinking middle class, because there's this and that, because markets are now in China, they're in India, right? You have this booming market in India, China, a booming middle class. So should I sell here or sell there? All right. So anyway, so you just need to know the definitions, distributed product development, handling off various parts of the innovation product process, total product offer, everything that consumers evaluate in deciding whether to buy something. You can't even make an evaluation. You go to a store, take a look at your a bag of chips, Doritos or something. They don't even list all the ingredients on there. Look at a Slim Jim, beef jerky. They don't even tell you the ingredients. When I was a kid, if you bought a Slim Jim, the ingredients looked totally different. Okay. It would tell you what parts of the cow the ingredients came from. You would see beef heart, beef lips, like stuff. That was what they used to list in the ingredients. The very descriptive, specific. What was in your now, if you look at Slim Jim, it just says beef. Beef what? It doesn't tell you anymore where it came from, what part of it. And then they change the ingredient labels. So you could have MSG, monosodium glutamate in your food, and they can label it something else because people don't want to consume it. Consumers don't want to consume MSG, but they like the flavor. So your Doritos has MSG, all those chips have MSG. They just don't list it. They list it as hydrolyzed soy protein or yeast extract. And the only thing they're doing is they're taking a soy-based product and they're extracting the glutamate in it and just putting it in. It's the same thing. So the just the consumers evaluate when deciding what to buy. You can't even make a proper evaluation because they already know what you're going to be thinking, and the FDA and all of them, they're all complicit with it because they have boards of directors on these conglomerates that they lobby to then work for the FDA to then change the laws to screw you over, so you can't make an informed decision on your products. That's today's politics, today's society. So, total product offer. Okay. So let's actually scroll down here. Product line. So this is product lines and product mix. Your product line is a group of products that are physically similar or intended to be for a similar product. Product mix is a combination of product lines offered by a manufacturer. So you see an example here. Product lines often include competing brands. Some companies like Pepsi owns tons of different companies, not just Pepsi, Coca-Cola too. So this is an example of product line versus product mix. Product mixes can be extensive, such as Procter and Gamble. They make lots of home goods and things of that sort. So just these are all very standard definitions. You want to make sure you know the textbook definition for the exam. Product differentiation is the creation of real or perceived product differences, right? Like a Jeep Cherokee versus a Jeep Renegade versus whatever, you know. Marketing differences, different classes of consumer goods and services. So convenience goods and services, candy, snacks, gas, milk versus shopping goods. So specialty goods and services such as fine wine, wines, watches, designer clothes and jewelry. Unsought goods and services are things you don't want to use, but you need, like insurance, burial services, car towing services. Uh, Industrial goods. So these are like business to business products. Industrial goods include installation. Capital items. Capital items refer to things like things that sit on it's an accounting word. Maybe I buy a crane for my business or a truck, or like a machine that's a capital item. Accessory equipment. Well, actually, a capital item, a good example might be like a car or probably like a piece of property. So these are various categories of consumers industrial goods here, which we just went over. Packing changes the product. So this is marketing. Companies often use packaging to change and improve their basic product. Examples include squeezable ketchup bottles, square paint cans, or screw tops, single-use spice packets. Good packaging can also make a product more attractive to retailers. Key functions of packaging. This is marketing, attract the buyer's attention. This is actually really important, by the way. So I'm glazing over it, but if you're looking to sell a product or develop a product, you should go through these 7 items and like a checkbox and think about your packaging, right? Your design, your logo. And if you take these areas here, key functions of packaging, and you look at packaging from like a Heinz ketchup bottle or maybe a favorite food you eat or something, and look at it, it's interesting to see a lot of thought, science, research, marketing goes into packaging. I spoke with a lady one time that was selling her own goods in a supermarket, like a local person. I was telling her about her packaging. I was asking her value proposition questions about her product. And I was telling her that you need to understand your target market and you have to place the value proposition on your product, you know, because how do you want to differentiate the value of your product from another product? If I can't differentiate value, then I'm looking at price. So you have to put the value in. I gave her examples of items in the store. I said, look at this item here. It says this, and that. Look at that item here. It says blah, blah, blah. So I said, you got to differentiate, you got to put down the back somewhere. So anyway, importance. This stuff is important, right? It's textbook stuff, but the textbook stuff is always like the foundation stuff, business foundation stuff. You're running a business, managing a business, you're running a Fortune 500 company. You come back to this stuff, you look at it, and you checklist it to what you have, your product offerings. It's none of this changes. So you're here sitting in this class, listening to this stuff, whether or not you're interested or not, I don't know, but it's super foundational. On the highest level of business, you could take all this stuff and break down high level marketing down to this and fix it. If you're having a marketing problem or you're trying to figure out a target market or trying to figure out a complicated marketing plan, it all boils down to this basic stuff. And you take the high level stuff, you take this as the blueprint, you map it out, and you check box each area and then expand upon it. It's how you bug test out marketing problems, issues with your product, your things of that sort. This is all very foundational. This is why it's important. The high level marketing is good, but it comes down to the basic stuff. So brands, we know about brands and trademarks, symbols, identities. uh, private brands, generic brands, knockoff brands, manufacturing brands. You might see like a cheaper version. You might see Coca-Cola, and you might see the supermarket has their Stop and Shop version of Coca-Cola that's cheaper, stuff like that. So brand equity, brand loyalty, brand awareness. Brand equity is the value of the brand name and associated symbol. Like maybe you see Whirlpool, Toyota, loyalty is what the customer has in the brand because the brand's been treating them well. And brand awareness is the marketing of people being aware. You might see a burger joint say, I never heard of that burger joint. But then you see McDonald's, you say, oh, I know McDonald's. And that's the awareness, right? So, creating brand associations, brand management, that's sort of managing the brand. So developing new products, this is all entrepreneurial driven. Okay. Technology research, it's all foundationally entrepreneurial driven, research driven activities. So you see sort of here, the product development is a 6-stage cycle. Yes, it is. These are the 6 stages. You could apply this for almost any product and even some services. You could adjust it for services as well. So you screen the product, you analyze the product, you test the product conceptually, commercialize it. There's some research in here that comes before when you research beforehand. And there's usually research is integrated back into the cycles at different points and the feedback you receive along the way. So product life cycle stages is introduction, growth, maturity, decline. A theoretical model of what happens to sales and profits for a product class over time. So you make a product, this is the life cycle of it. An example of a product like smartphones, hybrid cars, and sort of how that works. This is why you make new products, make new services, innovate. All right. So sample strategies follow during the product lifestyle. So you see the product price, place, and promotions is still attached to that. Okay. Competitive pricing, building traffic, achieving greater market share, creating an image, furthering social objectives. And in competitive pricing, target costing, price leadership, break even now. Break even is how much money you need to make to break even on the expense of what it costs to create the product, sell the product. And then every sale after that, you start to make money. So competitive pricing, skimming price strategies, penetration strategies, this is all marketing strategies, right? High-low strategies. These are general strategies you think about. What should I price my product at? Take a look at this chart. Take a look at this section. Helps you think about that, right? Non-price competition. Competition on attributes other than price. So all this ties into new products, new life cycle for products. And I'm going to end the class here and just inform you guys to please remember to go ahead and finish up your project and prepare for your presentation. You have your final coming up in 3 weeks, 4 weeks technically. And there's no class next week. Okay? So everybody take care. I'll have this video posted up later today. If you have any questions, shoot me an email.